Hello. I'm super excited. I'm super excited. This is my first time going live in quite a minute. This is my first time going live on this computer from this location. So, hi. I just did my eyebrows and I realized that I could have taken off a bit more and I look a little bit inquisitive because they're not exactly the most even, but in a much more real sense. My eyebrows just look damn good. So there's our intro. We don't have any edits, obviously, because this video is happening live. I have some heart chakra chants going in the background. For those of you who are tuning in now, hi, please say something in the live chat. I don't know why. I didn't really expect people to pop on, but this is happening publicly. So yes, welcome. Hi, how are you guys doing? I hope you're doing amazing. Today we're going to be talking about the new moon in Aquarius. I keep calling it a full moon. I've been calling it a full moon ever since I started getting really pumped and excited about it. So before we get into your piles, which I'm really excited about, we want to talk a little bit about the astrology because they're saying, Gwen Stefani, this shit is bananas. Bananas. Okay, so full moon in Aquarius. This will happen on February 11th, 2021. This is relevant for you. Right now, the moon is in Capricorn. So the second that the moon moves over into Aquarius. Well, this full moon in Aquarius is happening at 23 degrees in Aquarius. I'm not sure what degree the Capricorn moon is in right now, but the moon should be shifting into Aquarius very, very soon. Anyway, when this full moon occurs at 23 degrees in Aquarius, we will have the sun in Aquarius, the moon in Aquarius, new moon. We will also have Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius, Jupiter in Aquarius, and Saturn in Aquarius. Are you guys as excited as I am? I hope you're as excited. If you're watching the playback, please comment and tell me that you're excited. If you're watching it live, please comment and tell me that you're excited, unless you don't want to talk, and that's okay. I'm really, really excited for this transit because it's so much Aquarius energy. It's obviously an Aquarius stellium, and so what we've really been dealing with here is abandonment. This Aquarius season has been like Aquarius season times 10 because of all of the planets that are in Aquarius right now. And then the planets that aren't in Aquarius are in freaking Earth. We have Mars in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus, Pluto is in Capricorn, and then we have Neptune and Pisces. And so this energy is just incredibly beautiful because what's been coming up a lot, they're saying, slow down, why are you talking so fast? Because I'm really excited. We're relaxing. We're not in a rush. This energy has felt really, really amazing because I talk really fast when I'm excited. This energy has been really, really amazing because what's been coming up is all of this abandonment, all of these feelings of abandonment, right? And for you, it's going to be various areas of your life. We've kind of got all of the different areas of life covered throughout the three piles, but the moon, before the moon was in Capricorn, of course, the moon was in Sagittarius. And so while the moon was in Sagittarius, that was like two of the most emotional days of my life. I've been watching Firefly Lane on Netflix. I definitely would recommend it. I cry every single episode. I finished the first season. And it's just so incredibly emotional. So I've just been crying, crying, crying all the time. But it's just been a lot of emotional a lot of releasing old things. And so the first thing that we want to give is, because this is kind of a general message for everyone who's going to watch this, this will probably resonate with where you are on your journey. What we're doing right now, especially because Mercury is retrograde in Aquarius, which we think that you guys are going to really enjoy Mercury retrogrades as long as they're in air signs. In the previous years, at least the past couple of years, Mercury has retrograded in water signs, right? Nathalie's most memorable Mercury retrogrades are in Pisces and in Scorpio. And so now that Mercury is retrograding in Aquarius, it's just a little bit less heavy. It's a little bit less heavy, even though it's still as emotional. What do we mean by this? We mean that there's a lot of going back in time and crying over things, but it's almost like they're saying the biggest message that we want from you guys want you guys to get from this is it's okay to look at the past and to cry and to feel those emotions. And then after you're done crying, to look at that situation and see it in a completely new way. That's what's going on right now. And so it's recognizing, whereas in the past, perhaps when Mercury was retrograding in water signs, you might have looked back in the past and cried and cried and cried, and then decided, I never want to look back at that event again because I'm just always going to keep crying. This is the energy of every time I talk about the past, I'm always mad, I'm always upset. It always gets this intense emotional reaction. But with Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, there is this kind of, you all are going to benefit. You're benefiting from the more aloof, detached energy of Aquarius, where you can have that super emotional breakdown moment. And then you can also look at it in the future. You can look at, okay, I experienced this painful, heartbreaking moment, and that ended up leading me into X, Y, and Z thing, which was really, really amazing. The energy of Aquarius, we kind of talked about this in our Uranus series video. The energy of Aquarius is all about, what do we call it? It's like my favorite gospel Christian saying, right? It's not a setback, it's a setup type of energy, right? Aquarius is, where have we been abandoned? Where have we been let down? Where have we been hurt? Where have we been kind of betrayed, but not betrayed in like a Scorpio, malicious, terrible, heartbreaking way, but betrayed in like a, oh no, my emotional needs just so happen to have fallen through the crack because I wasn't a priority. It's that type of energy of betrayal. So the energy of Aquarius is going to show us where this happens in our chart. And with this Aquarius stellium going on right now, these are the areas that it's coming up for you. So we're going to run through it really quick. We've got the sun in Aquarius. So this is your soul. This is your essence. This is your soul's expression. When you have your sun in Aquarius, when you have your sun in Aquarius, we would describe this from a psychological standpoint as somebody who has a break in the bond with the father. This is somebody who feels rejected by their father. You could, what just happened? Oh my God, my camera just went, my computer just something, went to sleep. There it is. So experience of breaking the bond with the father, the energy of Aquarius is feeling like you're abandoned by dad, feeling like you're not good enough, feeling like you're an outcast, feeling like you're a weirdo, right? With the sun in Aquarius, this is the time where everybody is kind of looking at themselves versus looking at everybody else in the world. The energy of Aquarius is the energy of groups, but it's also, before you find your group, before you find your people, your clique, the people that just understand you, the people that you just get each other, you go through that period of being misunderstood, especially with Mercury retrograde in Aquarius right now, connecting with the energy of the sun. What we're dealing with is, especially we want to say more so right now and previously as that conjunction was a little bit more tight, what we're dealing with and what we're experiencing is this feeling of, the things that I say, the things that I think, and the things that I am are wrong, right? And this is, the easiest one is sexuality. They're singing Lady Gaga, Born This Way. It's the feeling that you feel when somebody else's existence completely contradicts, or something that somebody else believes. We have Mars in Taurus and Uranus in Taurus. Oh, such beautiful energy. The feeling when somebody's beliefs, somebody's values directly contradict who you are at a core level. The feeling of unworthiness, the feeling of abandonment, the feeling of there being something inherently wrong with you. That's the energy of Aquarius. And this is so important because what's happening, Venus in Aquarius, this is your love, your relationships. If you pick pile number 2, we're going to get into that. With the moon in Aquarius, this is your emotions. This is your relationship with your mother. Jupiter in Aquarius, this is your intellect, perhaps school, especially Mercury retrograde Yeah, because as Mercury continues to move through this retrograde in Aquarius, it's going to get real close, well, much closer with Jupiter. And so this is a lot of Mercury, Gemini energy, school, elementary school, Jupiter energy, higher education, college. So there's a lot of um, times where you felt abandoned, times where you felt betrayed in terms of your studies coming through here, in terms of your groups and connecting with people. And we'll kind of talk about that in pile number one. And then when we have Saturn in Aquarius, this beautiful, 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 beautiful energy. We're so excited for this. This is ultimately being able to step into a place of leadership. We have Saturn in Aquarius with Pluto in Capricorn, which is so freaking amazing. Why is this relevant? Because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. All of this chart, it's the way that this chart is just so interconnected for me. It's like every single sign is an Aquarius, basically, because the signs that aren't in Aquarius are Taurus. Mars is in Taurus. We have Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is ruled by Aquarius. And so, how are all of these signs in Aquarius really, really affecting us? Well, it would depend on your chart. But when we have Uranus in Taurus, we're talking about our values. We're talking about how do our values differ from the values of others, and we're also talking about tolerance. One of the things that I've been reading up on in terms of PTSD and trauma bonding is what we would call it, is the fact that people who experience PTSD or people who experience trauma, they tend to connect with people who have had their same experience. One of the examples of this is like gangs. Another example is fraternity. Another example is certain like support groups. Another example that I've really noticed is social media. Right, what comes to mind is like uh, we would say Black Twitter. We would also say the wokeness of the internet, right? Because one of the things that I've really noticed looking at the people on the internet and looking at the way that we kind of exist, we're talking about cancel culture now, is that the internet is really this place of no, you're right, you're right. Because I was gonna say it was the internet, but then they're also like, it's kind of the world and it's kind of exactly the same. But on the internet, we kind of get to see everybody in the world kind of interacting with each other all at once. And so it's a little bit of an easier way to get a bird's eye perspective and view. So when we're looking on the internet, the way that people interact with each other, it's cancel culture, for example, is just the only people trying to perpetuate cancel culture are people who are still living under the impression that there is something that somebody can do to make them unworthy of love. And it's really, really interesting. And we see this, and it's so obvious, right? Because we have, on one hand, the abolish prisons and, school to prison pipeline and all of this, right? Which is so real and it's something that's existing. And prisons are bad and jails are bad. And then the second that somebody who is outside of your group, what we're talking about is othering. When people who have experienced trauma can relate to each other, right? And we kind of form these trauma bonds, we connect with people who have that understanding, who understand the way that the world works from our perspective and point of view. And so we are connecting with people who have experienced what we've experienced, and everybody else who hasn't experienced what we've experienced gets pushed out of our circle. They're saying, you can't sit with us type of energy. And so what is this? This is othering. And I consider it to be demonic othering. I think, oh my God, I have to keep remembering to move this. I don't think that I've ever been live on this before, so I'm not really used to the thing going off, whatever. So I consider this to be like demonic othering, somebody who doesn't have my shared perspective, anybody who doesn't have my shared experience is evil and is bad. And we really see this, right? With our, they're saying eat the rich campaigns. We see this with our anti-white people campaigns, and it's funny that they're calling it a campaign because that's exactly what it is, and it's this idea and this concept that, no, we shouldn't be punishing these people because they've experienced X, Y, and Z thing, but when somebody who doesn't look like you or who doesn't have the same experience as you does the same thing or blah, 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 then it's, oh, they should be thrown in jail, oh, they should be experiencing X, Y, and Z punishment and all of this stuff, right? And so what we're seeing when we're seeing people exist and do this is that it's kind of like the question of, well, which one is it? Are we moving forward and creating a society? Because Aquarius energy is all about advancement. It's also about humanitarianism. Are we moving forward and are we creating a society wherein we are compassionate and loving towards one another and where we are actually focusing on healing? Or are we creating and, kind of perpetuating the society that already exists where everybody has their own group, and the people who don't fit that experience, the people who don't fit into that category, just kind of can't join. It's just irony. It's irony all over the place, and it all comes down to your personal values, and your values are ultimately going to be created by your experience, and that's what Aquarius shows. Aquarius is the leader because of everything that they've experienced and being let down by leaders and all of that. You know what I mean? That's what creates good leaders. Okay, I already did a whole video on that. Anything else about the current transits? Did I explain that in the way that I wanted to explain it? Okay, one last thing. The people who are perpetuating this idea and this concept of cancel culture are the people who believe that there's something that you can do that will make you unworthy of love. There's this energy of everybody is focusing on making a mistake. Nobody is allowed to make a mistake. You can't possibly make a mistake. We live in the uh, age of information. Saying something, I don't know that phrase. We live in a world where you have the internet, you have access to all of the information that you could ever want. And so, because you have access to more information, then you have no excuse for making a mistake, right? But in reality, it's not about that at all. It's everybody's inner children just crying and being so upset all of the freaking time. You know what I mean? It's the trying to punish others is really just you. I want to say the phrase showing your ass, but I don't mean showing your ass. I mean showing your subconscious and the way that you treat yourself, right? When you make a mistake and you feel like you're unworthy of love and you don't deserve good things. And so when you see somebody else who has more money or who has a different skin tone, so they have a different experience than you, they have a different perspective than you, they make a mistake and they still believe that they're worthy of love or worthy of enough love to continue to allow in millions of dollars. And then that makes you pissed because you beat yourself up for every single mistake that you've ever made in your life. And how dare they not do the same? And so cancel culture is trying to punish people, but you're not really trying to punish them. You're trying to you're existing and showing up in the world, treating others the way that you treat yourselves, right? It's a lot of mirror work. We've been having a lot of conversations about accountability. Now we're getting into a completely, well, not a completely different thing, but we don't want to move any further into that. We want to get into what we've come here to talk about today. And although that is what we've come here to talk about today, and we've given you a couple of things to think about and mull over it in your brain, we want to get into the pick a card for this new moon in Aquarius, which I'm very, very, very excited about. Okay, we have three piles. We have three different decks today. The first is from the Girl, I think this is called the Mermaid Tarot. I'm not exactly sure. But the first card is the Fool. Maybe I should timestamp this. Oh my God, how are you talking for 18 minutes? Queen of Conversation, honestly, truly. Okay. Oh, oh wow. Okay. Okay, so first we have the Fool. Then our second card is the Two of Cups. And then our third is the Ace of Pentacles. And that's it. Okay, timestamps are going to be in the description box below by the time that you watch this. Okay, so pile number one. when you wanted your entire video to be about 20 minutes. Okay, let's get into this. The messages are going to be super quick. We have the Fool. I'm going to roll your astrology dice. We've got Neptune and Aries in the 10th house. This is so absolutely perfect. So, first of all, pile number one for you, this new moon in Aquarius is all about seeing your career and seeing your public image in a completely different light, with Neptune on the 10th house, with Aries on the cusp of the 10th. There's this energy of you've experienced a lot of projections, right? When we have where we have Neptune in our chart is going to be the place in our chart where people project a whole bunch of shit onto us, period, point blank. And where we have Neptune in our chart is going to be the place where people don't see us. They see what they want to see. For example, I have Neptune on the third house. I could see something that I believe is the most plain, straight to the point thing. And there's somebody out there who's going to, what did you say? I can't understand anything that you're saying. Or there's somebody who's going to take what I said and make it something completely different, right? And so it's very easy for people to take the things that I say and utilize them for whichever narrative they've created about me in their own mind, because they have Neptune in the third. And how do you deal with this? You learn to stop giving a fuck, recognizing that you show up as a mirror to the world and you mirror aspects of people back to themselves, and that's their business. So when we have Neptune on the 10th house, this is definitely the person who has experienced a lot of projections. You could experience a lot of projections in the workplace specifically, or a lot of projections on social media. Okay, in the past you've been a little bit afraid of going out of your comfort zone, or you've been really afraid of going out of what's normal or what's familiar for you, because of how other people are going to respond, because of how somebody else is going to feel, what somebody else might have to say. And so this could be gossip. This could be the way that people will think about you. This is your perception. Yes, the way that others perceive you. With this new moon in Aquarius, you're getting an opportunity to go back over the experiences of the past that you believe have impacted your reputation, and to just kind of recognize, they're saying number one, that you control the narrative with the energy of Aries here. And we're not saying that you control the narrative, meaning you control the way that the outside world perceives you. We're saying that's the only thing that is completely out of your control. And so in terms of law of attraction, why are you focusing on the way that the world perceives you when that's none of your business? There's nothing that you can do to influence the way that the world perceives you. Even those people who are people pleasers, right? Even those people who are actively going out of their way to be somebody who they're not, so that the world perceives them in X, Y, and Z way. Usually those are the people who don't believe that they're inherently worthy and deserving of love, and they have to be somebody other than who they are to be worthy and deserving of love. So you're dealing with a lot of guilt and you're dealing with a lot of shame. Pile number one, this new moon in Aquarius is all about releasing that shit, period, point blank. With the Fool here, you're being set up for a completely new beginning. This is a completely new beginning in your career, because we have the 10th house. The 10th house is associated with Capricorn. Right now we have Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. And so what this looks like is a lot of change and transformation in terms of your career, in terms of your reputation. This is the way that people see you, the way that people remember you. And it's not that the people who dislike you are going anywhere. It's not that the people who are projecting onto you are going anywhere. It's not that people are going to one day wake up and see you in a completely different light. It's that you're no longer focusing on them, and you're now deciding to focus on something completely different. And what do we mean by this? We mean, damn, I don't remember who said this, but it's something about like, for every 100 people who dislike you, there's a million people who love you. Right? Pile number one, and the Aquarian energy, which can become so incredibly harped on everything that's going wrong, and can become so pessimistic because of everything that they've experienced in their life. You can get so focused on everybody who doesn't like you. You can get so focused on, right, everybody is going to be focusing on my eyebrow, and the fact that this eyebrow is a little bit higher on the arch up here than this one is, right? And sure, there's somebody who's going to watch this video who doesn't love themselves and who doesn't see themselves as beautiful, and who might might think something about my eyebrow, but for every one person who's going to feel that way, there's 20 other people who are going to watch this and who are going to go, oh my God, your eyebrows are so beautiful. They're so incredibly thick and blah, blah, blah. And I just love your face. And I just think that you're so absolutely beautiful. It's really time for a shift in your perspective, pound number one. And that's what's going to usher you into this new beginning. It's about recognizing that the people who are going to hate you are just going to hate you. The people who are not going to want to be your friend are just not going to want to be your friend. And it's not your job to convince somebody to like you. It's not your job to convince somebody to want to work with you. It's not your job to convince them to follow you on social media. It's not your job to convince them to want to be your friend or to see you in a completely different way. It's about recognizing, okay, you know what? How that person feels is none of my fucking business. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to focus on all of the people who love me. I'm going to focus on all of the people who adore me, because honestly, you have such a beautiful new beginning for you. Like I said, the 10th house is going to be associated with Capricorn. And then we have the energy of Aries here. And so we've got this incredibly beautiful cardinal energy. This is the energy of starting. And then we have the Fool, which is associated with Aquarius energy. And so what this means is that you have this incredibly new beginning that you're stepping into. And this new beginning is going to be based in the fact that they're saying you're doing it on your own, you're doing it in an authentic way. It's recognizing that it doesn't matter how somebody feels about you or what somebody has to say about you. And what actually matters is how you feel about yourself and what you have to say about yourself and the relationship that you have with yourself. This full, damn it, new moon in Aquarius is the perfect time for you to be sitting and looking back at your life and for you to be like, wow, I support myself in every single decision that I made, because every single decision that I made was what I believe to be the best decision for me at that time. There's a little bit of needing to recognize that you are where you are, and where you are isn't in a bad place. Where you are is not in a bad place. You're actually in a really, really amazing place. And they're saying we're going to pull a couple more cards before we close out this reading. You have such a beautiful new beginning. And what I love about this card is that she is coming out of the water, and we know that water is incredibly cleansing. And so there's this energy of being washed. They're saying anew, recognizing that they're just saying it again. The way that people feel about you has nothing to do with you, with the energy of Six of Cups. This is what we were talking about with your elementary school, perhaps elementary, middle, high school, college, educational experience, learning and connecting with people and creating new friends. It's about recognizing, like, okay, fuck, like sometimes human interaction is fucking weird. Sometimes human interaction is awkward. There's no such thing as a perfect conversation. And it's also recognizing that one of the reasons why I love the English language so much, or just language in general, is that there's so many opportunities for things to get lost in translation. We could be speaking the same exact language, but unless you have my exact perspective, meaning unless you have my exact experience, my exact understanding of certain words, there are certain slang words that are spelled differently, right? Utilized in different ways. Different things have different connotations, right? Some people think that vibing means to have sex. To me, vibing means to just be chilling and just connecting, and there's no words needed. We're just energetically connecting and having such a great time. And so what I mean, or my point in all of this, is that there's always going to be somebody who just doesn't understand you. And it's learning to be okay with that. As a kid, you could have experienced people not understanding you, people not understanding where you come from. And this could be for some of you that you were in a different culture, because that's the energy of Aquarius. You could have come from a different place than the people who were around you. People could have not understood you. For example, I was Black. I went to a predominantly white school for such a long time. So different things about my culture and what it means to be Black and my hair and my skin tone were I guess the best word to describe it is taboo or different than the experience of my classmates. I also grew up in a single parent home. So my mom was a single mom, and everybody who I grew up with had two parents. And so that's a feeling of, damn, nobody here understands me. Nobody here understands my perspective and where I'm coming from. And it's about recognizing that that's not exactly true. Hi, Michael. Bye, Michael. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sending you love. Bye. Thanks for tuning in. Um, it's just recognizing that it's not necessarily true. You kind of make assumptions about people. You kind of assume that people either don't understand you or sometimes people write you off and stuff like that because you say something and you're like, "Oh fuck, I didn't mean to say that." Like I had this conversation I was trying to pitch to this person to work with them in a collaborative way, and then I ended up kind of putting my foot in my mouth because I kind of might have insulted them. But then at the end of the day, I was like, "You know what? Fuck it. If you think that I'm such an insulting person, whatever, you don't understand me. It is what it is." And that's kind of the energy that you're being called to step into, Aquarius. Sometimes human interaction and exchange is weird. Sometimes you think that you are saying something to someone and they don't have that understanding of that's what you mean and all of this. And so things just kind of get lost in translation in that way. And your message is to stop beating yourself up because people don't understand you. Stop beating yourself up because people don't understand where you're coming from. And instead, focus on the people who are going to understand where you're coming from and who are going to love what you bring to the table. And this isn't about casting out people who don't understand, it's about kind of sort of being able to pick and choose your battles. There are certain things like I've realized that I am growing this tolerance for other people, right? Having healed my trauma, no longer creating and enforcing trauma bonds, meaning only connecting with people who have had my same exact experience and saying fuck everybody else who has had a different life experience and all of that, right? So just recognizing that I'm no longer being intolerant of people who have had a different experience or who have a different understanding of the world and the way that it works, but also recognizing that what I need at the end of the day is this borderline or underlying energy of respect. It doesn't matter what you believe, but I have to respect you as a person to connect with you. I have to respect the way that you show up. I have to respect that you're doing the best. I have to respect you and your belief system. And if I don't respect you and your belief system, then we're not friends. Then we're not connecting. Then we don't have a relationship, and that's okay. Pile number one. This is about your relationships. It's also about your career. It's also about your reputation and being able to figure out it's okay for me to be genuine and authentic, and it's okay for me to also allow myself to receive love when I'm showing up in this way. I am inherently worthy and deserving of love. And if this person isn't going to give me love unless I change myself, then this isn't my person. And moving on, that's really all that we have to say for you. Paul number one, you have this beautiful beginning that you are creating for yourself. We have judgment at the bottom of the deck. And so this is ultimately about releasing judgment of yourself and others so that you can actually show up and be free and really just have the most amazing time. You have such a beautiful new beginning coming up for you. And it's like a completely different world, right? Because this picture, this illustration, she's coming up out of the ocean and she still has damn it, she still has what are those called? And then my glasses fall off. Damn. She has fins, right? And she's like walking, you know, the story of fucking Little Mermaid. So it's this energy of you have lived in the world, you've had one experience for a majority of your life. And now, as you step into this next cycle of your life, we're talking about 2021, we're talking about a completely new segment of your life. You're recognizing that things are a lot different here. Breathing is different on land than it is underwater. It's your entire experience is changing. And so they're saying allow your perception of the world to change as well. You're no longer the person who is fighting against the world because nobody understands you and nobody likes you and nobody gets you. You're now allowing yourself to exist in the world and allowing the people who will understand you, allowing the people who do want to connect with you, allowing the people who do want to collaborate with you, allowing those people to come into your life, and then just having so much fun, not worried about any of the other people. So that's what I got for you. Pile number one. That was really awesome. All right, moving on to pile number two. If you chose the Two of Cups, kind of has a burp slash yawn there. Um, okay, not the first on time, which is nice. Okay, pile number 2. If you chose the 2 of Cups, this new moon in Aquarius, super duper excited about this one. So we got the 2 of Cups, and then 2 cards came out. It was the 2 of Cups and the King of Pentacles. And then we have your astrology die. We got Cancer, first house, Neptune, Neptune in Cancer in the first house. Why does Neptune keep coming up? Neptune in Pisces is like, they're singing a song, Don't You Forget About Me. What is that movie from? It doesn't matter. Thank you guys for liking the video, by the way. Okay. Neptune in Cancer in the first house with the 2 of Cups and the King of Cups. With Neptune in Cancer, again, this is another group of people who have really experienced a lot of projections. One of the things that I think about people who have a Pisces rising, some of you could be Pisces risings, you might be water sign risings, or you might have Neptune in the first house. You could also have Cancer in the first house. One of the things that I think about Pisces rising, your rising sign in astrology being the personality and persona that you develop in childhood in order to survive, right? The Pisces rising is the person who develops the persona of an airhead to survive. And there's no other way for me to say it. I'm not saying that Pisces suns, I mean, not Pisces suns, damn, I'm a Pisces sun anyway. I'm not saying that Pisces risings are airheads or they are dumb, but it's this energy of God, and every Pisces understands this. Just the benefits of playing fucking dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like the benefits of being like, you know what, you're right, I can't do this. Or not admitting that you can't do something, but maybe it's like everybody in the world assumes that you don't know what you're doing. Everybody in the world assumes that you don't know what's going on. Everybody in the world assumes that you need help. And so instead of spending your life correcting people and telling them that you don't need help, you're just like, you know what? Yes, sure. Why not? Because helping people and being of service to people and telling them what to do is obviously so important to you. It's kind of that type of energy that you have going on. So you've experienced a lot of projections, maybe a lot of people telling you who you are instead of allowing you to figure it out, right? And this is the energy of, oh my God, I hate this. As a Pisces sun, I've experienced it. And the last pal I was talking about having Neptune on the third. So it's kind of this similar energy, except it usually happens with my words, right? Have you ever had that experience where somebody will straight up like look at you in your face and tell you what type of person you are? Like, we won't get into examples because I'm not going to get mad on this video, but just like people will just kind of like look at me and just tell me who I am. You know what I mean? Or like tell me that I'm terrible, or tell me that I'm spoiled, or tell me that I'm X, Y, and Z thing. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, this is so interesting that you've gathered all of this information through all of the 0 conversations that we've ever had about myself, my life, and my experience. You know what I mean? It's that type of energy. And this is specifically talking about, it's talking about your relationships with people. It's also talking about your money. This could be talking about your family because we have Cancer here. I actually do want to get more cards because I want to know what's going on with this King of Pentacles energy. This is, oh, I know what it is, because Venus is in Aquarius right now, and then we have this energy of Cancer. We have this King of Pentacles, which feels like Capricorn energy. We have Pluto in Capricorn right now. So this is kind of the something about your relationships and the way that you view relationships. I'll give an example. The concept of being in a relationship with a man, the concept of having a relationship with a man, and then sorry, it's so cringy to me that I have difficulty saying it out loud. It's kind of like being a BB homemaker looking ass bitch and having a relationship with a man who pays all of the bills and all of that. Like all of that to me is so incredibly cringe because I view that as incredibly controlling, right? I have a perception of if you have somebody who is a sugar daddy, or you have somebody who is paying your bills, and it's a relationship, you guys are married, it doesn't matter. I just see it as controlling. Never let a man pay anything for you, because then you're going to be under his control. And the reason that I have this is because of generational trauma and also the what I saw and what I perceived in relationships growing up and me just like when I look back on it and I think like I really felt like as a kid like women needed help. Like I really just felt like women needed help to be saved from men because I just felt like you can't be doing this shit like voluntarily. Okay, example slash story time. When I was like 14 years old, my sister, I was over my sister's house and she like it was like her sister my sister, I believe that she had just had a baby. I think this was before my nephew was born or maybe after, I don't know. Anyway, we wake up in the morning. No, this was after. So we wake up in the morning and she's like making breakfast or whatever and her baby father is on the couch and he's playing video games and she like makes breakfast or whatever and then he's sitting on the couch and she like brings him breakfast to the couch and now they're playing Cater to You by Beyonce. It's the cringe for me. Okay, sorry, we're getting to the message and it's really important. So she like brings him breakfast before she brings it to me and I just remember I was sitting there and I was like trying to make sense of what's happening before me because I'm like, wait, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, first of all, I'm the guest. I'm like, why are you serving his food first? Why are you walking his food from the kitchen to the couch when he's not doing anything important? He's playing video games, bitch. He could have put the game on pause to come and get the food that you already cooked in the kitchen. It just like I was just like no 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 no. Every single time that I was seeing like dynamics like this happening in relationships growing up, I was just like blink if you need help, bitch. Like you could not possibly be doing this of your own free will. And so I just kind of got this energy. I have a Capricorn moon and Venus in Aries, and this is how I developed both of those energies or these energies manifested within me. I just felt like, fuck, like women who serve men, like these bitches need help. I'm just like, honestly, girl, you have to have a really good career so that you can never depend on a man. This can never be you, bitch. This is embarrassing. Like, I don't know. I just felt like it was so embarrassing. It was so cringe. So you all, pile number two, have some sort of relationship with relationships where you think something similar to that. And it doesn't have to be that love and relationships is cringe. They're saying for some of you, it's going to be, when you see romantic things happening, oh my God, for the longest time, I couldn't watch romantic movies. Like I had to watch rom-coms because I wanted to laugh for an hour and a half. And then, oh my God, surprise, they're in love. This is crazy. Who would have thought? But I couldn't just watch just straight up romantic movies because I'm just like, I can't take it. This is too much. I just don't like it. This is no. It is a cultural thing sometimes. Hello, Megan. But seriously, it's something that I didn't enjoy. And this is the thing. I'm so happy that you said that. There is a difference. So, point number two, this is all about your perspective changing in love and relationships. Because when we have Cancer and we have Pisces with the first house, there is a certain projection that has been put on you of what you're supposed to do and who you're supposed to be in relationships. And so you've spent X, Y, and Z amount of time fighting against this projection of what you're supposed to do and who you're supposed to be, that you don't realize that you might want to be the person who they told you you were supposed to be, but you didn't want to be that person because they told you that you had to be that person, but you said that you don't want to be that person. You feel me? So example, I'm like, oh my God, no, I could never be a BB homemaker looking ass bitch. This is terrible. This is torture. This is mind control. I don't understand what's happening. Never want to be in a relationship. Never want to be married because of this. And then as you move through your healing journey, and you start looking at relationships, and I was literally laughing with my guides. I was having a conversation. I was like, I don't know if I want to be somebody's girlfriend or if I want to be a personal shopper. I don't know if I want to be somebody's girlfriend or I just want to be a personal fucking stylist because I love giving to people. I'm a Pisces sun. I have Venus in the sixth house, and I just love giving to people. I love nurturing them, and I love caring for them. And so there is this whole side of myself where I'm such a loving and caring and kind and compassionate person, and my love language is totally physical touch. And I'm such a fucking Beyonce cater to you. Well, it's Destiny's Child, cater to you looking ass bitch. But I was so ashamed of that for the longest time because I felt like everybody who's doing that is just doing that because they were told that they have to do that because it's culturally accepted to do that. And it's you're a woman and your place is in the kitchen. And you mean to tell me that you enjoy cooking? And you mean to tell me that you enjoy doing X, Y, and Z different thing? And so that's ultimately your message, pal number two. This new moon in Aquarius is an opportunity for you to start looking around and seeing, like, okay, maybe I do want this. And for some of you, that's being able to sit and acknowledge, like, oh, holy shit, I actually do want a love relationship. They're saying an example for, um, they're singing this verse from Jay-Z lyric from the song. It's a song with Beyonce. It's from Family Feud. He says something about man who doesn't take care of his family. Can't remember the rest of the line. But the example coming through was like, imagine this. You're a young bachelor and you perpetuate the idea and the story that you shouldn't value women and you don't care about women and blah, blah, blah. And you have been fighting so hard against what society tells you have to be: a husband, a father, loving partner. You've been fighting against this for so long, you don't give yourself the opportunity to sit and go, oh, wow, I actually would enjoy providing for someone. I actually would enjoy, I have all of this money in my bank account. I would love showing my partner that I love them by paying for their bills. I would love to buy my partner food. I would love to pay my partner's rent. I think that that would be so nice. I think that that would be so kind. I think that that would be so sweet. That would make me feel like a provider. That would make me feel strong. That would make me feel so good. That would make me feel so confident. That would make me feel successful. I would feel so successful if I could take care of another person, having mastered taking care of myself, stepping into this next level. It's that type of energy. And we see this with the energy of the King of Pentacles, is being able to recognize that the things that you might have thought were super duper cringe in relationships before might actually be desires that you have. And that's okay, because the difference here is that you're not taking on a specific role because your culture has told you that you have to take on that role. Well, I remember seeing my sister and thinking, bitch, like, you're not fucking enjoying this. And perhaps it's the psychic, perhaps it's the clairsentient. I just felt like this is not something that you have to enjoy doing. You're just doing this because you're supposed to. I don't know. It was just I hated it. And now looking back at it, it would be different if you're like, I love my partner so much. I don't know. You guys, I can't I can't really give you guys an example on that one because I just so strongly hated that experience. But I could understand wanting to cook for your partner as an act of love, a labor of love. I think that that's sweet. I think that that's amazing. And so it's just recognizing that it's okay for you to have that shift of perspective. And it's okay if you're watching this. Okay, yeah, you're right. I apologize for the shame and the judgment. It's my own stuff. If you're watching this and you're like, no, I do actually want to be the person who serves my spouse. See, there's no way for me to say it where I don't feel cringy about it. So perhaps pile number two is my pile because we're still moving through this energy. But the point is, what we're saying, what they're saying, is that it's okay. And this shift is really important for you because you have a beautiful relationship that's coming to you, or you have a beautiful relationship that you are growing and cultivating. So some of you might have just met someone, some of you might be meeting someone. Oh my God, it's Valentine's Day. And just being able to recognize, like, being able to actually recognize that I love taking care of people. I love taking care of the people who I love. That makes me so happy. I think that is such a labor of love to be able to tell my partner, like, okay, I think that that outfit is okay, but if you put on this shirt and you put on this coat and you put on these shoes, I think that would be so much better. Don't you agree? It's like that type of energy. It's what type of relationship dynamic do you want to have outside of what you're told that you're supposed to do? And then it's also being able to examine the way that you judge those people who are in those dynamics. And I will admit, I do have a lot of judgment towards women who are in relationships, but that's just because growing up, my perception of life was that my mother chose her relationship with my dad over me and over my development and over my needs. And so I just viewed all women who allowed themselves to be in love relationships as weak or evil or somehow neglecting me. So that's the personal work that you want to do, pile number two. When you look at people in these relationship dynamics and you judge them so harshly, why are you judging them in that way? And what are the underlying causes and roots of that? And that's going to help you start to detangle yourself from that so that you can actually experience love. They're like, yeah, some of that cringy shit is actually amazing. And wouldn't it be so lovely if you could experience that with another person? And it's also being able to admit that it's okay to want that with Venus and Aquarius. It's okay to admit that you want love, especially for those of you who have natal Venus and Aquarius, but also throughout this transit, what's coming up is that energy of how, it's kind of like I posted this on my Instagram story. Like, it's so easy to say that you want sex. It's easy to say you want friends with benefits. It's easy to talk about being in a situationship. But when you say, oh, I want to get married, or you say, I want to have a relationship, there's a little bit more judgment there, right? There's a lot of judgment that we put towards people. I don't want to say specifically women because it definitely it's across the board. There's a lot of shame that we put towards people for wanting love. And it's recognizing that it's not only normal to want love, but that's the first thing that you came here to do. For some of you, in terms of your inner child healing work, you want to be um, looking into breaking the bonds with your mother specifically. Okay, they're saying, let's get into it. So, when you have a break in the bond with your mother, what this means is that as a kid, as a baby, the only thing that you wanted was relationships. Relationships have been the most important thing to you since your birth. And that's because as you were growing and cooking in the oven, you're creating this relationship between you and your mother, or you and the person who was creating you and who would give birth to you. And then you rely on that person to meet your needs. You rely on somebody else from the second that you're born because you can't do it yourself. And so your entire life is focusing on creating and cultivating relationships. When you have your relationship with your mom, when you're a child, you need love, attention, and focus like you need fucking oxygen. Okay. You need constant love, attention, and focus from everybody in your life, but most specifically from your mom, because this is the number one connection that you have. This is the person who you have known before you even knew what knowing a person was. And so when you experience a break in the bond with your mother, that means that you've experienced X, Y, and Z period of time without seeing your mom, without connecting with your mom. It's very much how they're giving the example of puppies. You know, when you go to buy a puppy and they're like, the puppy has to stay with their mom for X, Y, and Z amount of weeks. You cannot take that puppy away from its mother the second that it comes out. Otherwise, chaos ensues. I don't know what the effects are in puppies, but the effects in children are really, really drastic. When you experience a break in the bond with your mother, you close yourself off from receiving love from your mom in order to protect yourself from heartbreak and pain. Because what happens is your mother's love, attention, and focus is your source of love as a kid. And so when your mom's giving you attention, when your mom's giving you focus, when your mom is mirroring back your emotions and your experience, you're learning how to exist in the human world. You're learning how to manage your own emotions. Things are going to be okay. Things are going to be good. When you don't have your mom, when your mom doesn't respond to your cries, when your mom doesn't respond to your needs, when you go a period of time without seeing your mom, and we don't mean a couple of seconds, we mean days, right? We mean uh, well, no, we don't mean it depends. It depends. It varies. When you go X, Y, and Z amount of time without experiencing or connecting with your mom, you think that your mom fucking died. Seriously. So you experience this unfathomable pain because where are you? And then they're saying, is it object permanence? Is that what that is? How babies don't yet understand that when something isn't out of their view, that that thing still exists. And so when you aren't in constant connection with the people who you're creating bonds with, specifically your mom, you're like, oh my fucking God, she fucking dead. My mother is gone. She's never coming back. And that's this huge amount of pain. So you begin closing yourself off to love. And then this, of course, affects the relationships that you have growing up, your relationships and your friendships, but also your romantic relationships. And then there's this what do we want to explain? They're talking about men, and this is going to help you. This is going to help those of you who are I guess you could be a man watching this, or you're dealing with a man who is in this way, it's going to be a eye opener. They're saying for men who have that relationship with their mother, where it is, we would say, emotional incest. And what we mean is a lack of emotional boundaries, where your mother is depending on the child, in this case, the son, for her emotional needs. Like she should be a partner, but instead is depending on her child in that way. That man can grow up to be the person who shies away from commitment because the idea and the concept of having to completely take on the emotions and the emotional needs of a woman is just too much. It's just too much. That's our, is it Reader's Digest version? Is that the phrase? That's our summary of what happens. So there's a lot of, okay, they're saying example. They're saying a million things all at once. It's like the energy of, does that make sense? Does what I just said make sense? Can somebody watching this just say, yeah, thumbs up, that made sense? You explained that in a good way. It's like constantly having to tend to your mother's emotions, not having a healthy relationship. You don't even get time for your own emotions, for your own emotional needs. The idea and the concept of having to emotionally tend to another person and having that person be emotionally reliant on you, that's a big no. That's a big no. And people don't usually know how to articulate this. They usually don't have an understanding of it. So they just kind of shy away from relationships, or they go from relationship to relationship. A lot of people move from relationship to relationship because you have such a deep desire for love and connection. What we're really trying to stress to you, pile number two, and damn, we've been talking for a long time, but it's really, really important, I guess, is that love and connection is the thing that you've come here to do. Love and connection, connecting with human beings, is your number one priority. And this is why we see people who are going from person to person to person, but not being able to settle down with one person because they're running from emotional intimacy. They're running from emotions that, number one, they don't know how to process their own. They don't know how to help somebody else process their own. And although, mm, mm, healthy relationship isn't necessarily, shouldn't be focused on helping somebody else process their own emotions. So what we're talking about is pile number two, what you're doing is you are on the journey of learning how to have healthy relationships. That's where you are. You are learning how to have healthy relationships, what a healthy emotional boundaries look like. How am I supposed to be there to support my partners? How do I allow somebody else to be there and support me? When you experience that break in the bond with your mom, you've closed yourself off from love because you now have this association with, when I allow somebody to love me, then comes pain. This is, oh my God, the title of the video explained. This is, I now have those abandonment issues. And so for those of you, a lot of us, we tend to kind of focus on the father and this, they're saying like daddy issues, but ironically enough, and this is kind of like sun versus moon, because the sun is dad and moon is mom, and moon is more mysterious, and moon is the shadow, is the subconscious. The biggest focus should be your relationship with your mother. And this is regardless of your gender, breaking the bond with your parents, closing yourself off from love from either one of your parents is affecting you in your relationship today. And it could be because you're judging your parents because of their relationship, how they showed up in their relationships. They're saying some of you have Chiron in Libra, Chiron in the seventh house. You might have your moon in Libra, you could have Libra in the 12th, you could have Venus square Saturn, you could have Mars on the 7th, perhaps you have Mars in Libra. There's this energy of aggression or bad feelings associated with love. And it's really time for you to start breaking that down, because along your spiritual journey, right, a lot of us spent the beginning of our spiritual journeys super duper in hermit mode. I have to learn how to be by myself. I have to learn how to fall in love with myself. I have to develop that sense of self, learning how to be my own person, showing up in the world. And then you get to a point where you recognize you need other people. And now they're singing the song New Apartment by Ari Lennox. I think that's how you say her name. Anyway, and so basically the concept is that you have this strong desire to have love and connection, but you're not allowing yourself to have that. And so we tend to focus on things like career. We tend to focus on things like sex. And so what you're just doing right now is recognizing, like, holy shit, I actually need genuine love and authentic connection in my life. And some of you are just starting to recognize that you might not even have that in your friend groups, because that's Aquarius energy. That's our friends. With the moon in Aquarius, some of you might have that aspect as well, but this is a new moon in Aquarius. And so, again, it's relevant. The moon in Aquarius child might see their mother as more of a friend than a mother, and that's not good. Moon in Aquarius isn't good, because although it might be fun to have your mom being your best friend, that's not your best friend, that's your mother. Your mother is supposed to be, we would say, an authority figure in your life, but we don't mean an authority figure like somebody who tells you what to do and somebody who yells at you. We mean an authority figure like somebody who shows up for you, somebody who nurtures you, somebody who loves you and cares for you. That's a completely different dynamic than the dynamic between somebody who is a friend. And so that kind of lack of respect between mother and child, or the lack of respect between parent and child, can set you up for a lot more kind of fucked up things in the world, right? Because you don't depend on your friends like you would depend on your mother. And so now we're kind of getting into this territory, pile number 2, of some of you feeling just really, really unsafe, feeling unsafe in the world, feeling unsafe and unstable in your connections. What you want is to go more than surface level. And Leo is at the descendant of Aquarius. And so this energy, this loving, heart-centered energy, is absolutely super readily available right now. And it's just something that you have to think about it. Ultimately, the energy of Aquarius, connecting with people and relationships, is about understanding and being able to understand somebody else. They have to understand who they are to be able to translate who they are to you. And you have to understand who you are to be able to translate who you are to another person. And so really, this is ultimately about gaining a greater, deeper understanding with yourself, and also allowing yourself to begin gaining deeper, greater understandings of other people, meaning developing meaningful connections. That's your greatest desire right now. Pile number 2 is developing meaningful connections. Oh my God. And then the freaking lovers at the bottom of the deck. Pile number 2, can you admit that you have a strong desire to be in love? Can you admit that you have a strong desire to experience genuine love and authentic connection? Okay, that's all that I have for you. I didn't say it in pile number 1, but if you want to work with me, then you absolutely can. I have a current 5-month program. It's super fucking kick ass. I can help you with all of that shit, inner child healing work, breaking the bond with mom, all that good stuff. My website will be linked in the description box of this now. My Instagram is Nathallie.Hughes. It has my website there. Oh, my website is nathhughes.com. That's pretty easy to get to. And you can also email me at Nathallie@nathhughes.com, and we can talk about it. And Nathallie is spelled how it's spelled all on my channel. For those of you watching the replay, it'll be in the description box. Okay. Moving on to pile number 3. Pile number 2 is, it's just a long-winded day. And honestly, I'm okay with that. And this is why they told me to go live, because this is hella long. And that's okay. Well, damn, pile number 2 was like 30 minutes. So that was really nice. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. All right, pile number 3. If you chose the Ace of Pentacles, let's get into it. We have the dice. I was going to say, I wish that I had water. And I do. Oh my God. We have the moon in Aquarius in the 10th house. Perfect. What I love is that basically all of the energies that have come through are the energies that are present astrologically, which is really, really nice. Okay. Moon in Aquarius, like we were just talking about in pile number 2 with the Ace of Pentacles. We're going to pull a couple more cards. Moon in the 10th house, we have the Star and the 8 of Cups. You have a new opportunity coming in with this new moon in Aquarius. We literally have moon in Aquarius in the 10th house. This new opportunity is coming to you in your career, and now they're singing Into the Unknown from Frozen. And this is an opportunity for you to step into something that you've never stepped into before. With the Devil at the bottom of the deck, this is more Capricorn energy. This is public image energy. We've got the 5 of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords, and the Queen of Swords. So pile number 3, this is really they're saying this is a new opportunity for you in career, okay? You could definitely be rising up. You could be experiencing some sort of public recognition, some sort of acknowledgement. You've got opportunities for money coming to you with this 8 of Cups. For those of you who are trying to move, you could be moving physically. Yes, you could be moving houses, but this is also just trying to move into a different area of your life. With this new moon in Aquarius, we've kind of mentioned this a couple of times. For those of you who are graduating, they're saying graduate programs, and they're also talking about just normal college acceptance. So you have a lot of offers coming in. It's like this energy of things that you have been doing in the past, shit that you've been working towards. It's really starting to come to fruition for you. And now they're saying the phrase coming up roses. So there was a lot of toxicity that you walked away from in the past. There's a lot of money mindset shifts that it's time for you to have. You know what you don't want, and so now you know what you do want. This is the mm. So it's a little bit of allowing yourself to have more than others, recognizing that the struggle no longer serves you. The struggle has served its purpose. That's what it is. That's what it is. Pound number 3. Are you willing to be more successful than other people around you right now? The answer is no, because you're afraid that if you gain more success, then you will become an outcast. And this is what we kind of talked about. I think it was pound number 1, we talked about that a bit, where people who have experienced trauma, people form those trauma bonds, and there's this energy of othering people who don't share that experience, othering everybody else who basically isn't the exact same, who doesn't fit the mold because they don't understand and all of that. So you've got some trauma bonds in your life, and this could just be overall in social media, right? You got your friend group, or you got the people who you connect with online, or you're seeing eat the rich everywhere. And so there is kind of this energy of, oh, yeah, rich people are those people, right? And now you have this opportunity to completely step up. This is a complete and total transformation of your money and your finances that's going on here. And so you have an opportunity to get out of poverty. You seriously, this is an opportunity to either get out of poverty or realizing that you're, ooh, I didn't mean to flip you off, realizing that you're already out of poverty, or realizing that it's okay for you to not be poor. And this is because you have the idea and the concept that the rich people are those people, and those people are terrible people, and those people are greedy people, and those people are evil people. The example we're using is the rich, although this could be applicable to so many other things. And so you might have talked and had conversations about those people for the longest amount of time. And now you're recognizing, oh, fuck, if I experience this jump from 6 figures to 7 figures, oh, fuck, now I'm becoming one of those people. The second that I step into this, the second that I allow my current program to get full, I just had this fucking realization. That's 5 months. I'm a 6-figure business owner. Oh, holy shit. I just stepped into a completely new experience in life. I'm stepping into a completely new experience in life. And a couple of years ago, it was the rich are greedy. A couple of years ago, it was capitalism X, Y, and Z. It was the girls are leaving. What's that thing? Guillotines in front of Jeff Bezos's house. You know what I'm saying? It's that type of energy, recognizing that if you want to step into this next level of success, which you should, which you're being ushered into, which it's like the next level of success is inevitable. But the reason why you're putting it off is because you're afraid of what other people are going to say with the energy of the 10th house. Some of you could be afraid because you feel like people are going to come to you telling you that they're struggling, and you're going to all of a sudden have a whole bunch of dependents because you have more money. People are going to take away my money, so I don't want to allow myself to get more money because I'm not actually going to have more money because people are going to want my money. And then if I don't give people my money, then I'm an evil person. And this is, it doesn't matter if you're experiencing a $20,000 jump in income, $100,000 jump in income, or a $5,000 jump in income. All of your thoughts and beliefs about money, the people who have money, or this is about money. This is about career. Okay. And so, example, this could be like, I don't know, if you worked in the entertainment industry, you and your group of friends who are trying to make it big in your industry, whatever, you could have jokes about executive producers, and executive producers are pieces of shit, and they're all so evil, and they're all so terrible, and they're all so picky, and they're all so controlling. And then you get an opportunity that you've been calling in, you've been manifesting this. This isn't something that you didn't want. You want this next level of success. So then they call you in, you get the interview, you get the job, and a part of you didn't think you were going to get the job. And so now you're sitting here, you're like, fuck, I want to take on this new job and this new opportunity. But the people around me, we used to talk shit about executive producers. We used to feel X, Y, and Z type of way. And I know that they're going to feel that. So now the people who I love, the people who are my friends, are going to feel some type of way about me having this new level of success. And this could also be family, because we have the moon here. This could also be your parents. For some of you, I think we've talked about this in previous readings, and it might have been pile 3 as well, where you have a family who expects you to support them and expects you to pay for them and all of that. And honestly, pile number 3, your affirmation work is, it's okay for me to allow myself to have more than others. And Coin of Swords, it's about establishing boundaries. The Coin of Swords says, no, fuck off. That's it. You have the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords. It's about acknowledging that you don't have to give your money away. You don't owe anybody anything. Even if that person helped you, even if that person is a parent, right? I just saw this post, which just put it so beautifully. And it was like, parents who guilt their children for parents who, like, if you make your child feel like they owe you for everything you did for them as children, it's abusive, because what you're saying is that your children didn't inherently deserve a roof over their head and food in their mouths and all of this stuff, right? And so it's being able to recognize, like, yeah, some of your parents fucking resented you for having needs. Period, point blank. Some of your parents resented you and were angry with you because of their choices, because they chose to have children that they then had to take care of, and they had to support, and they had to provide for. And now there's this energy of somebody else has to do that for me. And honestly, you don't. It's just not your job. It's not your job. And especially with the energy of the 10th house here, and they're saying it's not going to be as bad as you think it is. Some of you are needing to recognize that you're utilizing other people as an excuse to not allow yourself to have this next level of success because you're afraid of fucking it up. And you're using somebody else, like, oh, this person isn't going to be happy, as an excuse. Also, some of you need to recognize that you might not even be as consciously aware of this as you think that you are, right? Because these are subconscious loyalties. And so we'll use race as an example. You can have a subconscious loyalty to your race, or a subconscious loyalty to your socioeconomic status. And what that means is, I want to use a different example. So if you have like a subconscious loyalty to your parents, subconscious loyalty to women, this is, I don't allow myself to get into relationships. You might not be thinking this consciously. This is the reason why you're not allowing yourself to get married. This is the reason why you're not getting commitment. This is the reason why you're not being chosen in relationships. You're not allowing yourself to receive love, because you believe that if you allow yourself to receive love when your mother didn't allow herself to receive love, that now you're betraying your mother. And it's that same exact way in your money, your finances, and your career. It's being able to recognize and acknowledge that there's a part of me who feels as though if I allow in this next level of success, if I allow in this next level of abundance, I'll feel like I'm betraying my people by leaving them out in the cold. I'll feel like I'm abandoning my people, my friends, my family, my environment. And they're also talking about bragging. They're talking about bragging. It's not bragging if it's true. They actually said it's not tricking if you got it. Yes. Um, they said it's not bragging if it's true. There's this energy of, I don't want to I don't want people to know that I have as much money as I actually have because I don't want people to feel bad. It's about recognizing pile number 3, you're not responsible for their emotions. You're not responsible for their feelings. You're not responsible for shit that they have going on in their life. Oh, damn, Michael. Welcome back. For those of you watching the replay who won't be able to see this, Michael says, I've gotten rid of all the toxics except the last one. It's hard because it's my mother. Right. It's this energy of being able to recognize that I'm not responsible for their emotions or their emotional responses. We talked about being responsible for your own emotions in another previous video that I've done. It's recognizing a lot of the that's what it is. Every single time that we get triggered, meaning we have a really intense emotional reaction to something, it doesn't have anything to do with the person who is triggering us. And it has everything to do with our own wounds and our own experiences. And so let's say, like, for example, I'm pretty vocal about my healing journey. I'm vocal about my childhood, what I experienced, things that I consider to be neglect and abuse. And my mom has access to my social media and all this good stuff. And I'm talking, and she's right in this next room and stuff. And so I'm aware that it makes her feel some type of way, right? Makes her feel a little bit left out in the cold, a little bit abandoned, or a little bit not so good type of way, right? That doesn't mean that I don't talk about my experience because it's recognizing that the way that my mom feels has to do with her childhood. And the way that she gets triggered is because of her relationship with her mom and the things that she's experienced in her life and her childhood. And none of that has anything to do with me. And it's like they're saying if people are going to get triggered, they're going to get triggered. And they are. They're always going to get triggered. You're always getting triggered when you have unhealed trauma because opportunities for healing are always presenting themselves because your consciousness, your mind is like, I'd like to get back to normal. I'd like to have a good life. I'd like to, they're saying, it's like this energy of when you're experiencing trauma, when you're experiencing a trigger, you are being taken back to a whole past experience. You lose conscious control of yourself, right? This is why you are reacting instead of responding. A response would happen in your brain, in your frontal lobe, which is the area of your brain which is in control of our behaviors. It's our responses and things like that. When you're experiencing a trigger, your amygdala is in control, your reptilian brain is in control. The We would also say like your subconscious is now in control. Your inner children are in control and not your conscious self. It's not the This is why when you experience a trigger, you're not making the most rational decisions. You can't be rational. You're no longer in the present moment. You're back in the past. You're back in the trauma that you've experienced. Of course, that's not going to be fucking rational. That doesn't mean that we shame people. It means that it is what it is. And so you are going to be constantly experiencing triggers, and you have to be able to do, well, not have to be able, but it would, we would say, make sense. It would probably be the best option for you to do the healing work that you are kind of being prompted to do by being triggered in the first place. And it's about being able to take control of your life. So it's recognizing that the people who are going to be triggered by your success have their own shit that they need to heal, that they need to deal with. I've started to look at people, and I'm just like, you know what? The way that you feel about me and the way that you feel about my success and all of this, that's not even have anything to do with me. It has to do with you when you were like 0 to 8 years old and you're experiencing all of this trauma, all this abuse, and all of this neglect. And you're thinking that life would be better if you could be like X, Y, and Z person. And then you're characterizing me as X, Y, and Z person. You're experiencing all of this jealousy and intimacy, excuse me, jealousy and envy and all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're not responsible for other people's emotions because you're not responsible for whether or not somebody else is triggered. You're not. What I love that Michael just said, I'm learning to own my triggers because they're mine. That's your responsibility. Your emotions, the way that you show up in the world, whether or not you are reacting versus responding, that's your responsibility to handle your shit. When you experience a trigger and you are all of a sudden kind of acting out of pocket, it's your responsibility to number one, take responsibility for your actions and to also kind of sit and inquire, like, why did I respond this way? Why did I do X, Y, and Z different thing? And now you're on the road to healing. It's not your responsibility if somebody else doesn't do that. There are so many people that you know, pile number three, there are many, many people around you, and we would probably argue many people throughout the world who are getting triggered left and right. Their inner children throwing a fit, taking control, taking the fucking prindle, and then instead of doing the inner child healing work, instead of doing the retrospective work, instead of doing the introspection, they're going to point the finger at you. They're going to say, it's your fault. Why didn't you put a trigger warning on your post? It's your fault. Why didn't you talk to me in a different way? It's your fault. Why did you wear the perfume that my abuser wore? How would you have known? How could you have done something differently? The answer is you can't, you couldn't, you wouldn't. It's not your fault and it's not your responsibility. This is the energy of no, you don't walk around on eggshells because of how somebody else is going to respond. And that's what you're doing, pile number three. This new moon in Aquarius is about realizing it's kind of similar to that pile number one message, but not exactly. That some people are going to have these huge, intense reactions to your success, to your abundance, and to this next level of your life. And that's on them. And there's going to be this whole other group of people who are going to look at you and they're going to be inspired. The way that you reach your goal only matters when you have something to prove. The way that you reach your goal only matters when you have something to prove. And in this way, we're talking about the struggle. We're talking about the fact that people glorify the struggle when the struggle only serves you so that you can decide that you no longer want the struggle. The struggle in manifestation is your step five contrast moment. And then your step one ask is when you decide, I'd like for life to be easier. And then you go through the process of manifestation until you hit a little bit of struggle or perhaps a little bit of contrast. And then you go through that whole process again. Perfect example. If we were to call on Dr. Martin Luther King and we were to say, if you could do the whole civil rights shit over again, but this time you could do it without the struggle. This time you could do it and it could be so incredibly easy. This time you could do speeches from the comfort and safety of your own home, going live on YouTube. Would you have done it? Dr. Martin Luther King would say, fuck yeah. Well, I don't know if he would say fuck, but I don't know. I don't know his life. But the answer would be yes. Sometimes we look at our idols and everything that we've gone through, and the stories and narratives can be so focused on look at everything they went through. When in reality, that's not what your focus should be on at all. Your focus should be on look at the end result of their work. And now, from where they are, I have a desire to go even further so that things can get even easier. Your greatest desire is ease and to feel better. You want your life to feel better and you want it to be easier. You want it to get much better, much quicker, and much easier. You always want things to get easier. You always want things to get faster. This is the energy of Aquarius. This is the age of Aquarius. The best example is technology, right? How difficult was it to get across the country when trains didn't exist? How difficult was it to get across the country, to get around the world when niggas were traveling by boats? Well, yeah. Versus airplanes. It's recognizing like, oh shit, we experienced this struggle of not having electricity, not having lights in our house, so that somebody someplace or a whole bunch of people could decide, oh my God, I wish there was a way to keep seeing into the night. And then we have candles, and then we have light bulbs, and then we have televisions, and then we have computers, and then we have phones. Somebody created phones, and they said, damn, only being able to call people and talk to people when I'm at a payphone or when I'm by a landline is so difficult, or it just takes so much time. I have to sit in my kitchen to be able to talk on the phone all day. I wish that I could talk to people and connect with people in a much easier way. And then they invented cell phones. And then somebody said, damn, I love pictures and I love photographs, but I wish that we could do this without the struggle of having to sit there and freeze so that it can take our picture and all of this. And then we eventually moved to having cell phones with cameras in them, and then cell phones that are like this instead of weighing 1,000,000 pounds, and all of this shit. And every single time that there's a new technological advancement, it's all about this is easier, this is more comfortable. I've been really talking about this JetBlue Mint for a very long time because it's a manifestation that I'm really excited to experience. And the idea and the concept of we have created a whole new flying experience of more comfort, because what if you wanted to lay down during your flight, and what if we put a door there, because what if you want privacy while you are flying on this plane someplace? Like, isn't that just the most fucking amazing idea that you've ever heard of in your life? Of course, are there still going to be people who are squeezing into seats on, what's that called? Is it called coach? I don't know the names of the other seats. I only know first class and the other ones, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So the point of all of this, of everything that we've just said, is that the struggle only serves you so that you can then ask for it to be easier. Pile number three, you've recognized that you're done struggling. You've recognized that you're ready for life to get easier for you, instead of focusing on, no, because you have to do the work to subconsciously release that. It's a little bit of affirmation work. Meditations will really, really help you. I did a good, powerful money meditation on my Instagram. You would like that. My Instagram is, damn, I think it's Nathallie.Hughes. Might be Hughes.Nathallie. I don't remember, but it'll be in the description once this is done, or in other videos. Anyway, it's being able to recognize and see all of the amazing things that money will do for you. Now that you're no longer worried about money, you're no longer worried about bills, where else are you able to spend your energy? Now that I'm not spending my time worried about whether or not my phone bill is going to be paid, I get to spend time focusing on what I am creating. I have a lot of different creative ideas for my channel. Now that I'm no longer worried and stressed and in survival mode, I can now be in creative mode. And it's about understanding that you incarnated on the leading edge of creation to be in creative mode and not in survival mode. But so much of the world is struggling and experiencing the struggle because they haven't realized that it can be easier, or they don't understand that they deserve for it to be easier. And so they're struggling and struggling and struggling, and everybody's traumatized. So everybody's in survival mode, and everybody is reacting, and nobody is responding. So they're just fucking going through it. And then the people who are allowing themselves to have lives that are easier, those are the people who are evil. Those are the people that nobody gets to live like that. It's just them. No, it's actually not just them. It's the people who are healed. It's the people who are having peaceful lives. What I love about manifestation is this idea and concept that you're going to get what you focus on, and understanding the brain, understanding psychology, and understanding biology. When you're experiencing trauma, your brain is like, fucking on edge. You know what I mean? It's the energy of people who have been traumatized, people who have unhealed trauma are always waiting for something, right? It's this energy of anxiety. It's this something is going to come, and in me, something is going to come. There's a problem that has to come at some point. And then manifestation, you get what you focus on. You're manifesting problems, you're manifesting danger because you're on edge and you're always focusing on danger. But people who haven't experienced trauma, those people are living the fucking life, because the growth and development of someone, why is the super chat function not available? Because I deleted my channel and I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet. So that's why. But when I have 1,000, which I will have again eventually, we're close-ish, kinda, then it'll be back. But right now it's not. But thank you. Damn, what was I saying? Where was I? Oh, yes, perfect. So the brain of somebody who has experienced trauma is going to consistently be on edge. It's like your mind is on survival mode versus the person who hasn't. That person feels safe to experience adventure. That person feels safe to go out and grow. That person feels safe to expand. It's a completely different experience. And so that's our point, pal number three. What you're doing is shifting from being in survival mode to allowing your life to get good. And what you're doing is looking at everybody who's still in survival mode and going, damn, I feel really bad for leaving y'all in your struggle. But really, what it's time for you to recognize is that you can't do anything to help them other than get out of the struggle and show them that there's an easier way. And that's how you become a source of inspiration. People can look at you and go, "Oh my God, I didn't even know that that was possible. Oh my God, you can actually go from where we've come from and have this amazing, easy life. I didn't know that that was possible until I saw you doing it." And so now, even if people don't think this consciously, right, you're shooting rockets of desire all of the time in terms of manifestation. And so people are shooting off rockets of desire of, that's the life that I want. That's what I want to experience. For some of you, you want to clean up your social media, less complaints, less focus on everything that's going wrong with the world. Yes, I'm talking about news. Yes, I'm talking about all of the sad sob stories of the world, recognizing that there's nothing that you can do to impact somebody else's experience. You just can't. And instead focusing on filling your Instagram timeline or your Twitter or what the fuck ever with people who inspire you, spending your time looking at and connecting with people who, when you see them, you go, oh my God, I want to live life like them. Oh my God, I want to experience this. I want to go to this place. I want to have this understanding. I want to have a relationship like this. It's consistently allowing yourself to be inspired and being able to gain a new perspective of what life can be, allowing yourself to get into that. Certain people, a lot of the people that you've been connecting with, and this would be you as well, right? Because you're a vibrational match. Looking at people who are struggling, looking at people who aren't struggling, and feeling some type of way. The way that you feel is jealous and envy. It is. And everybody likes to talk about all of this other stuff. I saw this beautiful, beautiful post, perfect example. And it was, I think, like Nikita Dragon. I think that that's how you say her name. She like had this party, whatever. She posts on the internet. She's like, you guys, don't worry about my party. Everybody was tested for coronavirus. And then somebody else quoted the tweet and was like, wow, there are people waiting in line for hours and hours to get coronavirus tests, but the rich get to have it so easily and they just get to have their fun. And I'm reading this post and I'm like, fuck, like, you're so bitter. You're so bitter and you're so incredibly jealous. The way that I see it from a vibrational standpoint is you want to have a party really, really bad. You ask your inner being, how do I have a party? Your inner being says you can have a party and you can also have this party safely. The thing that you're going to need is for everybody to be able to get tested for the coronavirus. And then you allow yourself to receive a whole bunch of coronavirus kits. Does that come through money? Yes, it absolutely does. It's being able to recognize that money is not something that you have to beg somebody else to give to you. It's not something that you have to work your ass off to be worthy of receiving. It's an energy. You create it. You create wealth. It's about allowing that shit into your fucking life. And then you allow your life to get easier. Then you allow yourself to have fun and to have parties with your fucking friends instead of being the person who still is having to struggle and wait in line hours to get a coronavirus test. That's it. That's the only fucking difference. It's learning to transition from the person who is, wow, the rich get to have all of their fun with their coronavirus speedy tests and shit like that. And being able to see posts like that and going, wow, inner being, you know what? I do want to have a party. My birthday is coming up on March 12th, and I would love to have a gathering at my home. I would love to have a party of some sort. Inner being, show me how I can have a party. Inner being, how did she get all of those coronavirus tests? I'd like to get some coronavirus tests. And inner being, that could come through me having all of the money for it. That could come through me knowing somebody who knows somebody who has a whole bunch of extra tests. She posted a picture of the coronavirus test after the party had happened. So maybe she had a whole bunch of extra ones. Maybe she does a giveaway and she sends out coronavirus tests. And because I'm so in alignment, I'm chosen to receive the test. You know what I mean? It's recognizing that there are an infinite way of your desires to come to you, being more open to that. That's the world that you're stepping into instead of those people, those other people who get to live the easier life. We're not one of those people. We're one of those people who have to struggle. We're one of those people who have to suffer. We're one of those people who have to have a shitty existence. The answer is you're not. Period, point blank, pal number 3. That's the realization you're happening right now. With the 8 of Cups, you're stepping into a whole new, it's a whole new fucking life. It's really, really amazing, exciting time. You're going to be a beautiful source of inspiration to so many people. It's going to be incredibly beautiful. And now they're just singing Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. The haters are going to hate. It's about being able to recognize that some people are going to be upset. That's none of your business. So do you, with the 7 of Wands at the bottom of the deck, allow in this new level of success, because this shit is going to be amazing, especially with this Aquarius energy. Shit's going to come in. Oh my God. Oh my God. With Uranus in the 10th. No, with Uranus and Taurus right now, and Mars and Taurus, and all of this Aquarius energy, bitch, money is about to, large sums of money are just about to pour in, pour in. It's just going to be fucking amazing. Okay. For those of you who are looking for a new job, this is definitely that time to, they're saying be on the lookout, but we don't necessarily mean, we would say taking inspired action. And what that means is that when you get that inkling, maybe I should go look on LinkedIn. When you get that inkling, maybe I should just type in people, job offers near me. They're talking, for those of you who have a specific job title and you're looking to move jobs, when you get that inkling of, maybe I should look for jobs that are hiring in a nearby city. Maybe I should try to move across the country. Maybe I should do X, Y, and Z thing. Follow that inspiration, because the way that shit is going to just happen so quickly for you. And a lot of astrologers won't say this, so we're going to be the ones to tell you, who gives a fuck if Mercury is retrograde? Live your best life. Do not use astrology as an excuse to not allow yourself to have, oh my God, excuse me, to not allow yourself to have good things. Just because Mercury is retrograde does not mean that you're not allowed to travel, doesn't mean that you're not allowed to sign contracts, doesn't mean any of this shit. It's a time of fucking retrospection, time to look back on stuff. All of the work that we've talked about in your reading, pal number 3, it's time for that. But it's not time to just sit on your ass and not do anything just because you're afraid. Terrible, terrible, terrible advice, terrible idea. And we laugh all the time. Me, my guides, spirits, horse energy, we laugh because, of course, Mercury is the only planet, the trickster fucking planet, that would have everybody in the world scared to death to make a fucking move. It's like, it's not that serious. It's fucking Mercury. It's the fucking jokester. Like, relax. It's okay. You're gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. Because Mercury retrogrades so goddamn often. It ends up being like, what, like 3 months? You're so welcome. Bye. Talk to you later. It ends up being like 3 months out of the fucking entire year that you're not allowed to travel, that you're not allowed to blah, blah, blah. Trash idea. No, go live your best fucking life and take these opportunities that are coming up for you, because it's going to be coming up quick, and it's going to be, it's just going to be so synchronistic. It's going to be so beautiful. And the last thing that they're saying is, keep your head up, and Tupac. So somebody needs to go listen to that song. That's all that I have for you. Thank you guys for hanging out with me for an hour and 38 minutes. I definitely did not plan on being on for this long, but this was fun. This was cute. And I just look so beautiful today. I know we were all thinking it, so I just said it for us because I'm so cute. Okay, that's it. I'm getting off. Thanks for liking. Bye.